Hello everyone, welcome to Roma Theory. More transfer news today because we have another priority. Now, yes, the main priority is the striker, without a doubt. I can confirm that. I can actually admit that. But our second priority has to be fullbacks. And in this stream, we're going to speak about our top priority when it comes to fullbacks and the importance of fullbacks in a system of play which requires a lot of hard work from the two fullbacks. We're also going to speak about Kluivert because Kluivert could be near a move to Bournemouth. And yeah, we will make our way through today's stream by talking about these few transfer topics around the Roma environment today. Singo, another player which I would absolutely love. And look, I feel like I'm a bit too repetitive. I would love that player, I would love that player, I would love the other player. But this puts to mind that the options that we are creating to make our team a stronger team next season are valid options. Up to now, I have to be honest with you, having witnessed terrible transfer windows over the past years, I have to be honest with you, all the players that have been linked with us, and that includes players which are going to happen and are not going to happen. There hasn't really been one player which made me go, oh my god, who is this guy? Another one of those classic Roma signings, nobody knows who he is, and bottles it this season, and then we can't make the money. I have to be honest with you, I can't really find some of these players. There definitely has been a shift up. But obviously, we've hired the standards, but we can always be better, if you see what I mean. But Singo, in my opinion, is a top player because in a system of play like ours, fullbacks, oh my god, they're so important. And I will also add, in a league like the Serie A, fullbacks are very, very important. So, Singo, let's speak about Singo for a second, and then we'll move on to the priority of fullbacks and why they're so important in our style of play. So, Singo apparently is a Torino player, for people who don't know him. He's a very fast player, he's physical, and he's exceptionally fast. And that's, look, out of all the fullbacks we have, I'd say that he's the most similar to Spinazzola, but a good fit Spinazzola, because Singo is way fitter than Spinazzola at time of speaking. So if I had to compare him to one of our fullbacks right now, I'd probably compare him with Spina. Thing about Singo is that he's a Torino player. Torino have apparently accepted their faith that Singo's going to leave. Singo himself has told Urbano Cairo, which is Torino's owner, that he wants to leave, he wants to step up in his career. So there won't be a problem when it comes to convincing the club to sell him, because the club and the player have found an agreement to part ways. The amount of money that Torino are asking is around 12 to 15 million, which in my opinion is not too much. I've seen worse. So in my opinion, when it comes to this deal, the hardest part of this deal is not the financial part of it. The hardest part of this deal is definitely not convincing the player who has said that he wants to step up in his career and wants to higher the standards and the levels. But the hardest thing about this is going to be competition, because Juventus and Inter and Roma are leading the race to sign him. It's a race between three. Torino are definitely going to listen to all offers, see which one is the most beneficial for them, see which club Singo wants to join. As things stand, I would not worry about Inter. I wouldn't worry about Inter because I think Inter are going all in that Frattesi deal. And the second reason why I think Inter is not leading the race when it comes to signing Singo is because they already have good fullbacks. Di Marco on one side and Dumfries on the other. So Singo himself, yes, okay, maybe out of the three teams which have presented offers to Torino, Singo would go, well, yeah, Inter is definitely the most attractive because, you know, they're the best team out of these three. But would I play much in a team which has Di Marco on one side and Dumfries on the other? Unless they sell Dumfries, I would not really count Inter in this. Unless Singo's stupid and he goes, right, let me join Inter. But then I'm not going to play because Dumfries is a great fullback in my opinion. And is obviously going to get the priority over him. However, as much as I would say Inter is not the biggest worry, I would probably say the opposite with Juventus. Um, Juventus, in my opinion, are going to go pretty hard on this one. And I will explain why. I'll explain why by saying that obviously Cuadrado is leaving. He's decided not to renew his contract. And that obviously that leaves a gap to be filled. And we've seen this already last year. Torino player moving to one of their biggest rivals under the name of Bremer. We've seen this for a Torino player to go to the Juventus team and kind of move sides of Turin. It's not that big of a deal. People see Torino and Juventus as rivals because they play in the same city and they're rivals. They share the same city. But Juventus and Torino don't hate each other too much. Juventus' biggest rivals are Inter. Yeah, Torino's biggest rivals are Juventus, but it's definitely, you can't compare a player going to from Torino to Juventus like a player going from Lazio to Roma. It's completely different. So we do see players which go from two completely different poles. I think financially it's not a big of a deal because I think we're pretty good up to now. We've been pretty good at making money, and the way we've been making the money, I think 12 million for Singo is a steal for a younger player who guarantees you a fast lane on that side. And I think he's proven himself in this area in the past years at Torino. I think would be a great signing. It's complicated, but not too complicated. The reason why fullbacks are a massive priority is very, very simple. We play in a way where, especially last season, I hope things are going to change, but if we stick with this season which just ended, we have had so many difficulties when it comes to transitioning the ball from the center. Because we're having so many difficulties when it comes to scoring goals that it made our tactics move. Instead of going through the center, let's go from the two sides. However, that did not work out well because all of our fullbacks this season have been poor. Starting with Korsdorp, moving on to Celik, who's been good in the past few games, but at the start he was terrible. And on the other side too, we had Spina, who, yes, had incredible sprints, but his crosses this season have been woeful. And we had Zaleski, who this season has had an off season. So you see, we've had bad records when it comes to scoring goals because we started the season thinking about putting the ball in the box by the middle. It wasn't working out, so obviously we said, right, let's try to put the ball in the middle, but moving it from our two fullbacks, and that worked out even worse. This is the reason why we need fullbacks, and fullbacks are a massive priority after that striker. Because fullbacks in 2023 not only guarantee you defensive moves because they are defenders under all effects, but they are even more important when it comes to the offensive side. Crosses, sprints, cutting in the box, winning penalties. This is exactly why we need not too many. We need proven fullbacks, not useless fullbacks, like, players which, typical Roma signings, which we go, where did we get this guy from? Did we get him from the dustbins? But we need proven fullbacks who know this league really well and who, in my opinion, know how to handle a fullback position, which is not easy to find because a lot of these fullbacks nowadays either are way too defensive and don't cross, don't cut in, don't sprint, or they're way too attackive and they don't focus about the defense. It's very, very hard to find a balanced fullback these days. It's very, very hard because you obviously need someone which attacks because we need the goals, but let's not forget that he is a defender, so he has to defend too. And this season, Zaleski's been terrible at defending. He's probably been one of the best when it comes to the offensive side, but he's been terrible in defense. Spina, in my opinion, has been good in defense, but terrible in attack. Celik, yeah, I mean, a bit and a bit. And then Korsdorp, obviously, Korsdorp's season ended after 3 months. So yeah, fullbacks are a massive priority. And other reasons why fullbacks are a massive priority is because the teams which we are obviously aiming to compete with next season have exceptionally great fullbacks. You look at Napoli and they've got Di Lorenzo and Mario Rui, great fullbacks. You look at Milan, they've got Teo Hernandez and Calabria, they're great fullbacks. You look at Inter, they've got Dumfries and Di Marco, great fullbacks. So, we have to hire that competition, because otherwise, when we play against these teams, there will always be those positions where they're better than us, and that's the position they're going to exploit, the position they're going to attack with, and they're going to exploit these advantages to win against us. So that's another reason why fullbacks are a massive priority in this summer window. I wouldn't say it's the top priority. Top priority in my opinion still remains the striker, but second priority is by far fullbacks, and then third priority, now that we've bought Ndika and Awar, probably a box-to-box mid, and then a goalkeeper. I want a goalkeeper, but I've said this many times, and I do think we will sign our goalkeeper, but I think Mourinho likes Rui Patricio. Rui Patricio is one of Mourinho's most loyal players. So I actually think, even if we get a new goalkeeper, unless it's like Vicario or somebody else, I actually think Rui Patricio is still going to be our first goalkeeper. He's probably going to have his last year. I think Mourinho really likes him. Mourinho has said it many times in press conferences how Rui Patricio is one of his most loyal players, and I think unless big surprises come in that goalkeeper section, I have this feeling Rui Patricio will be our first goalkeeper next year too. Right, moving on to Kluivert, little discussion on that. By the way, in the meantime, quite a lot of you in the stream, so please, if you haven't already, smash the like button. It literally takes 2 seconds. It costs 0 money. And click that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. Moving on to Kluivert, obviously Pinto's focusing on selling players. We've sold Tajovic. There is a deal negotiation going on between Roma and Sassuolo for Volpato and Missori. Kluivert is another player which will 99% leave in this summer window. Bournemouth are interested in him. Fulham are also interested in him. Bournemouth are leading the race. As Fabrizio said this morning, let me find the tweet because he wrote about this today. No, sorry, not 433. Fabrizio Romano. There we go. Negotiations continue between Bournemouth and AS Roma for Justin Kluivert. Dutch winger remains a key target. Also with Iraola as new coach. Talks ongoing for a permanent transfer. It remains a concrete possibility. So yeah, Kluivert, Pinto's gonna ask around 12 million. I think if we got 8.5 million for Tajovic, we can easily get more money for Kluivert. Around 12 to 15 million for Kluivert, in my opinion, is going to be a good deal. Look, I've said this yesterday. Pinto's getting a lot of compliments for the way he pulled that Tajovic move, and obviously Pinto is also getting doubts and uncertainties from Lazio fans who are jealous that we sold a player which played 300 minutes for 9 million euros, and that's something which their ownership can do. So obviously, just like every day, every single minute of each day, they think about us because we are their biggest obsession. Lazio fans started going, oh, well, Serie A, please investigate what Roma did with Tajovic because it cannot be possible that they gained 8.5 million for a player who played 300 minutes. Jealousy at its best. However, we have to be careful. We cannot obviously massively pump our capital gains because that would go against the laws, and that's exactly what Juventus did to get the penalisation. There will not be anything strange and peculiar about that Tajovic move, because why would we do something illegal in first place? And second place, why would we pull such a illegal move for a player like Tajovic? So that's just them being irritated that we got money, quite a lot of money from that. But saying what we just said, we have to be careful because we can't pump too many capital gains. For example, we can't, for a player who's valued 5 million, we can't ask 15 million because that would literally mean plusvalenza fittizia, which is what Juventus got penalised from. So yeah, that's something we have to be careful. But that's something which, again, has been going on for so many years. But now that Juventus got caught in 4K, it's like a priority for these things to get, to kind of appear in front of the scene. These pumped and massive capital gains which teams have been making for so many years now have been going on for so long. But now that Juventus got penalized for the deduction for this and got deduced some points, this topic and this argument is going to be at the center of everything next season, because Juventus still want that revenge. So we have to be more careful than usual, because now that Juventus got caught in 4K for this argument and topic of making up these capital gains is going to be more central, and it's definitely going to require more attention from these investigation squads. So we do have to be careful when it comes to that. We don't want to follow what Juventus did, obviously, because we've all seen the consequences of what Juventus did. But yeah, again, another day. I'm still not in shock, but it's incredible how we made so much money for a player who's literally played 300 minutes. I've said this yesterday. Yeah. I've said this yesterday. It's incredible how we've made so much money just on Tahirovic. But yeah, that's thought we should have mentioned that. Right, let's read some comments. I'm done with the topics today. Either tomorrow or Thursday. Most probably tomorrow, tomorrow or Thursday. We're gonna have a transfer interview with Lorenzo Pes. So I'm looking forward to that. Prepare your questions if you've got questions on any topic. Fratesi, Scamacca, and all of these deals. There's gonna be a little interview coming your way in a few days. Singo would be an amazing signing in my opinion. I've wanted him for at least a year now. I think he's one of the best options out there, and Jose can improve him definitely. I would definitely love Singo. He's honestly a massive step up from Karsdorp and Chilik, may I add. Singo for 12 million would be a steal with the competition. I don't think he leaves for less than 16-18 million. What do you think about Faraone? I'm so stoked he renewed that contract, because he's the most loyal player in that team. And if El Shaarawy didn't renew that contract, I would have been mad, because he's the first person in that team who deserves a renewal of contract. I like Castagna as well from Leicester, as he can play left and right side. Would take him on loan. Juventus are looking into him, but yeah, he's not a bad player. If Pinto gets Singo for 3 million, more than what he got for Tahirovic, I will build a shrine dedicated to him at my house and pray to it daily. That's what I'm talking about. Fullbacks, big priority this summer. That Brazilian left back that we got linked with yesterday looks interesting. Oh yeah, Lucas Ayrton Lucas. We need a left back and a right back. I don't think we need a left back, because we've got Zalewski and Spina. Again, I kind of expect Spina to leave, but if he doesn't leave, we don't need a left back. Right back is definitely a priority in my opinion. Karnesecki would be a good one to split time with Rui and eventually take over. I agree. Great goalkeeper. Great prospects. We could buy Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton as an alternative. Says Fat Gus. Honestly, Kluivert is gutting, as he had potential to be a 30 million euro player, so we need Pinto to work his magic. Yeah, we do. But I think Kluivert is a player who Premier League teams... I think he would actually work quite well in the Premier League, because Premier League systems work well with wingers. So I think he has prospects. He's not a bad player. I just think he doesn't fit in the way we play. Okay, so why is it that bad though? I mean, if the other team is stupid enough to buy for so much, why was it made illegal? That's one thing I don't get. Yeah, good point. I think it's just avoid and have a more sustainable circulation of money, because obviously otherwise sustainability in football goes right out of that window. Maybe Chelsea trying to max out revenue because they know FFP valuation is coming. Single would be an insane recruitment. I just think we were targeting too many centre backs. I would prefer to move into a back four, says MT. Again, I think that's a question which has to be answered at the end of the transfer window. We have to see if Ibanez leaves, which he will probably leave. We have to see if we get an Ibanez replacement added to Ndika, Smalling's renewal of contract, Mancini. You know, I don't know. I just feel like we will answer that question, but I think it's too early to answer that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to catch you tomorrow for more transfer updates and maybe potentially, I'm not confirming it right now, but most probably an interview with Lorenzo Pes. So prepare your questions, come back tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Click all of the things below. It takes 2 seconds, it costs 0, and it supports this community and channel a lot. If you're interested in me trying Paulo Dybala's drink, the famous Argentinian El Mate, make sure to watch that video because, yeah, I tasted for the first time the drink which Argentinian players always drink before games. It got released a few hours ago. So check that, and I'm going to catch you soon. Take care. It's been a pleasure. Simo out.